Welcome back. With us again is Jillian Knight of Her Financial Therapy. I'm learning an awful lot, Jillian. I'm learning that I can spend, and it's okay. It's also okay to save as well. Do you mind, I mean, you have some of your clients, you don't have to tell us who they are, but I'm just curious as to, now that you've been doing this, what are maybe some of the common things that you're seeing, and maybe you can give us a success story? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Some of the common things that I see tend to be, I think I talked about a little bit of this, but really like a fear of money. So a fear of, that leads to sort of that avoidance of it. So fear that either they're gonna start to look at it and like not be able to manage it well, or fear that like they're not gonna be able to live the life that they've been living because it's gonna have to be some kind of like restrictive budget that they're gonna have to be on if they want to achieve some of these other goals like saving and investing eventually. Something happens, there's sort of this like, when you can connect on a deeper level. So this isn't really like an intellectual process. You're not just like thinking through this. It's more like connecting with the feelings and even like sensations in your body that come up around money, which we don't often think about. But money, because it's very emotional, a lot of our experiences of it get stored in our bodies. And so when we can sort of tap into that, there's like this like knowledge about like where some of these things are coming from. And that experience that I had when I was in middle school and wanted to like fit in. And so that really stuck with me. Or I've had clients who have started to make connections between why they're really struggling right now and something that has happened that they've sort of held on to, and that they're sort of acting out of this like younger part of themselves essentially. And then once they're able to sort of make that connection and really like forgive themselves for, you know, these are all things that have happened to them or that they have gone through to get to this point. That's not really, a lot of it's not really their fault. And so when they can have empathy for themselves instead of all the shame that's been around money for a long time, it sort of frees them up to be confident, to have the confidence and feel empowered. Like, I can do this. I can take responsibility for my own financial health. And I've seen that multiple times with multiple clients recently. And so that is like why I do what I do, is like to have those moments for people.
Well, it's making it sound like a traumatic event.
So yeah, there is some truth to that. Excuse me. So there is something called financial trauma, which you can either have something related to money that happens in your life, or in your parents' lives, or in their parents' lives that gets passed down to you. And it can be directly related to money, or it can be something traumatic that you experienced that is now showing up in money. But to focus on the financial trauma specifically with money, that can be things like depending on what age you were or what was happening with the Great Recession, or with your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents at this point, went through the Great Depression, and they developed like a relationship with money and like habits around money that they then passed down to their kids, That's all like intergenerational financial trauma. And so, and then, you know, what happened with the Great Recession has really impacted people's trusts in like the stock market and banks and all of that. And then also depending on your race, ethnicity, background, that has its own whole host of financial traumas that we don't have enough time to get into today, but it's really fascinating and really, it is, it's very, like there's way more to it than we realize often.
Ultimately, what is the goal? If you sit down with a couple or even an individual, what is the ultimate goal that you would like to see achieved with that individual is that they're not spending enough, they're spending too much. Talk about trauma, and I think there's a thing called money shame as well. And where do you want that person to be at some point you're going to say, it's been great, have a great life, right? Where do you want that person to be?
So it's very individual process, right? So it depends on the person and what their goals are. I don't have goals that I necessarily put on people, but I will say, once you feel like good about your relationship with money, it's free from stress. There's always probably going to be a tiny bit of stress around money because it just is. And you might have things might happen in the future that this pops up again, right? But you're aware of it. You know that this is old stuff that you've dealt with, and so you can sort of make sense of it and move on. But to really have a freedom around money that is not, that's more on an emotional and more about your thoughts and your feelings, and just more of your body is not just having these reactions to having to deal with money.
When I get more money, I'm happy. When I lose a lot of money, I'm not so happy. I always thought that's kind of what it was all about, but it sounds like there's a whole lot more here, and it would be worth exploring for folks who are watching and going, you know what, this is touching home. How do I get a hold of Jillian? How do we do that?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's herfinancialtherapy.com. You can request an appointment right on my website. You can also reach out to me if you have questions, Jillian at herfinancialtherapy.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram.
Great. We still have a couch here, so some of the staff's going to lay down. You can, no, I'm kidding. Not going to do that, but it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. I learned an awful lot.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. And if you have any questions or would like to know more, visit our website at RaleighCW.com and myRDCTV.com. I'm Bill LeMay. Thank you for watching Community Matters, and we'll see you next week.